Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show. This is the Farzy Show presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. My name is Mark Farzetta. Welcome aboard. We got a lot to get into today. Jalen Hurts' injury. Jalen Hurts himself addresses the media. What goes on there? Nick Sirianni addresses the media as well, gets asked point blank, what's the injury and how long will he be out? Of course, he did not answer that question. He also answered a question, though. He did answer a question, though, however, about Jalen Hurts and keeping him protected. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. No, I'm not talking about the Flyers actually winning last night. No, I'm not talking about this Carlos Correa thing that just went down moments ago. I am talking about the fact that I can't believe I heard my own words out of Nick Sirianni's mouth yesterday about using Miles Sanders and nixing RPOs and just, what have I been saying? Handing the ball to the running back. What? Not a read option, not a zone read. No. Just single back, under center, turn, and hand the ball to your running back. That'd be a good way to get him involved. And I heard Nick Sirianni actually talk about it yesterday, saying, to heck with the RPOs. I got to get into this. I got to just hand the ball to him. We'll play that for you. We have a lot to get into today. But let's start with the lead story here, okay? I made the pan-seared stuffed calamari yesterday. I did a little test run for 7 fish, right? I did a little test run. I only made like 6 of them, okay? Probably I'm going to make about 20 on actual Christmas Eve, okay? I made them yesterday. I'm just going to say this. It could not have gone better. It could not have gone better. Little stuffed calamari with crab, little parsley, little garlic, little scallion, okay? Little bit of balsamic vinegar, little tiny bit of fresh breadcrumbs, little fresh, not like out of a jar, but like actually I cubed up some Italian bread and I threw that in the mixed it all up, all nice into the calamari, into the frying pan with a little olive oil and sauteed garlic. Let that simmer 15, 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then take it out, eat it, little olive oil over top. Oh, let me just say this. I've been doing it wrong. Baking it in just the marinara, it's good. It's really good, as a matter of fact. This way, ooh, I could have eaten all 6 of them, but I didn't do that. My neighbors, they're big seafood lovers. I said, I need your palates. Get over here. They came over. They had it. Phenomenal. The guy, figure this. The guy said, my neighbor said, the man said, a little less balsamic. And I'm like, okay, I'll go a little less balsamic. That makes sense. And then the wife is like, no, more balsamic. And my wife was like, oh, always more balsamic. I don't know if it's just a lady thing, but my wife, I could make balsamic on top of balsamic. And she'd be like, I think it needs more balsam. And I'm like, please don't stop calling it balsam. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know, because I know you guys are staying up worried sick about it. The stuffed calamari, pan-seared. Phenomenal. I am not at all worried about Jalen Hurts. I'm going to go and make a bold statement here. Jalen Hurts is fine. Jalen Hurts is fine. Is he hurt? Yes. But what's the line from the program? Are you injured or are you hurt? Injured means you're going to be out a while. Hurt just means you got a boo-boo. And as we covered yesterday with Barrett Brooks, he's got a boo-boo. But I do think now, after listening to the press conferences yesterday, after listening to Nick Sirianni, after listening to Jalen Hurts, after listening to Jason Kelce, who was all but laughing at the severity of the injury. Now, that might sound crass, but you'll hear him a little bit later in the show. And it comes off as he's not worried either. That's the way I'll say it. He's not worried at all about Jalen Hurts. I listened to the press conference yesterday. I listened to the players speak yesterday. And then I go back and I watch that 68-yard throw to A.J. Brown down the sideline after the injury happened, which if you want to see it again, it's on my timeline on Twitter. You can check that out. After watching that again, it happened after the injury. He's fine. I now believe more so than ever. I'll put it like this. I thought it was like 60%, maybe 70% the fact that he was injured as to why he's not playing against the Cowboys on Saturday afternoon. I have now moved it completely the opposite direction. I'm now 60 to 70% that this is gamesmanship as to why Jalen Hurts is not playing. After listening to Nick, after listening to Jalen, after listening to Kelsey, after watching the play again yesterday, after going through the fourth quarter again yesterday, I watched Jalen Hurts play and I'm like, he's fine. He's fine. When I say gamesmanship, I don't mean that they're just posturing right now and Jalen Hurts is going to play. And he's going to play, and Gardner Minshew's not going to play, and we're going to see Jalen Hurts play. I don't think this is posturing. I don't think that's that at all. What I think they're doing is they know that they are, facing a really good defense, and they don't want to put Jalen Hurts up against that defense. They don't want to put him up against Micah Parsons or Dorrance Armstrong. They don't want to see those guys attack Jalen Hurts or hit him more than he's already been hit. So there's enough of a tweak there for where that's a concern. But on top of that, there's also a chance that they face the Cowboys in the playoffs. They don't want to continue to show them Jalen Hurts. They don't want to continue to give them experience against Jalen Hurts and what they can do to stop Jalen Hurts. They don't want any part of that. So they're not going to play Jalen Hurts in this game. And they also know that they can come home and face the Saints and win that game with Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback, with this great defense that we've been watching all season long. And they can easily clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs, number 1 seed, and everything be hunky-dory after that. They don't need to go to Dallas to use Jalen Hurts to win that game. They can simply either have him play the last week of the season against the Giants to lock that up if really need be. But I think Jalen Hurts right now, with the little injury that he does have and the amount of hits he has taken this year, I think what they're doing is looking at him and saying, all right, you know what? In case of emergency, break glass. And behind that glass is Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts will be the guy to come in if they haven't locked up the number 1 seed in the NFC, which they absolutely, I think, will. Even without Jalen Hurts. But if they haven't, you might see him rolled out in week 18, the final week of the season. That's it. I think they're protecting their quarterback. I think they know all they have to do is win 1 game of their last 3, and they're good to go. So as of right now, Jalen Hurts is just going to be put behind glass. And if they need to win that final game, because also the Vikings could lose. I mean, look, the Cowboys could even lose this game. The 49ers could lose. Like all these things, the way it really works out, the 49ers. Yeah, 49ers I don't think even matter on this. But in all seriousness, the Eagles are going to be fine. With or without Jalen Hurts to end the season, I believe the Jalen Hurts less Eagles and the Gardner Minshew and defense-led Eagles can still win you 1 game of these last 3 to lock up home field advantage and the number 1 seed. Regardless, I am not one to say sit starters, especially right before the playoffs, or the fact that if you have everything locked up, that you need to sit everybody and give them as much rest as possible and all that. I am not one for that. I hate that. I hate that you play all this football and then you stop for a week or two. You stop your normal routine for a week or two, and then another full week as you're waiting for a bye, possibly here, if you get the number 1 seed, which they will. I don't believe in just resting everybody and then say, all right, game 1, first quarter of the playoffs, go at it. And then you got to shake the rust off and you don't look good. The perfect example of that is the Joe Webb game. If you guys remember that Joe Webb game, I remember after that, a lot of people were talking about not playing starters and, whether or not the Eagles, who had hit a bit of a wall there in the 2010 season, whether or not the Eagles needed to play Michael Vick and some of their guys in the last game of the season to just kind of keep them going, keep the momentum going. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Yes. At least play a quarter. Give me a few series even. And they opted not to do that. And, man, they looked rusty against the Green Bay Packers. They were still in the game against the team that actually went on to win the Super Bowl. But that was an instance where I looked at that team and I said, no, they just keep them going. They haven't been the same. They haven't been the same. Try to get them on the same page again. Try to give them that momentum again. And they opted not to do that. That lives in my brain, not just because of the Joe Webb game itself, but everything that transpired after that as well. I felt like they lost an opportunity to get momentum going, to try to kickstart something, feel good about their offense again going into the playoffs, and they opted not to do that. Now this team, I would hate to see hit that wall. Whether it's injury, whether it's legit injury or not, which the legitimacy of the injury, I'll say this. Yes, Jalen Hurts is hurt, but I don't believe that he is injured. I don't believe that he would be out for a long period of time if this was any other scenario. But I believe most of this comes down to a strategy, the fact that they feel like they can win without him, which I think they can, given at least their next 2 opponents after Dallas. And that's how I feel. And that's why I feel the Eagles are looking at this just going, yeah, well, we don't need to play him right now. And all we all need to do is win 1 game. We can give Jalen Hurts a bit of a break after the season that he's had. The only thing that throws a wrench into all of that is the idea that he is competing for the MVP. And do they want to cost him the MVP award? Because you can have both. You can have him win the MVP, and you can have him healthy enough for the playoffs. Those things can be true. Because I do think that the MVP voters won't really give a damn about what happens for the rest of the season if the Eagles do lock up the number 1 seed, which they can do with a win on Saturday against the Dallas Cowboys. So that's the only thing that throws a monkey wrench into my theory here. But after listening to Nick Sirianni, after listening to Jalen Hurts, and then this from Jason Kelce yesterday, when he was asked when he noticed on the sidelines in Chicago, when he noticed that Jalen Hurts was actually hurt. Listen to Jason Kelce's response to Jalen Hurts being, quote, hurt.
I mean, he mentioned that his shoulder was, and I think, but, it wasn't, it was like a mention on the sideline, and stayed in there, though, so I didn't really think much of it, and, didn't look like it affected him that much either, so, I don't think I noticed really anything on the field from it. It's just on the sideline talking.
Oh, the little guffaw there, the affect him much. That right there, I'm like, he's fine. If this was any other scenario, Jalen Hurts would be playing. He's fine. He's okay. I'm not concerned. When I saw and then I went back and I watched the play with him and A.J. Brown after the injury, and the fact that he was 7 for 10, I believe, for 110 yards after that. That made me go, oh, okay, I think he's going to be fine and dandy. And then actually is when I heard the Kelce soundbite there and actually went back and watched the locker room sessions with these guys and went, oh, yeah, he's okay. I'm not concerned. Not overly concerned. Did I say overly? Not concerned. I am not concerned about Jalen Hurts and that injury. I do think that this comes down to the chess match that is football. And try to move your pieces around the board to make sure that your team is in the best possible position, not to win a guy an MVP award, but to lock up the best scenario for you for the playoffs, which is home field advantage and a bye week, which is nice. And that'll give you, in turn, another week to rest Jalen Hurts, and then another bye week before you make the Super Bowl. So let's all cross our fingers and hope for that one. Nick Sirianni did sit down yesterday with the media, and he was asked point blank. Well, actually, let's hear from Jalen Hurts himself. Here's Jalen Hurts on his shoulder and where he's at right now.
Jalen, how's the shoulder feel right now?
I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling
better
fine.
than it did Sunday. Or?
It's a week where we're keeping everything business as usual. I know we're playing a really good team, a really good opponent, and doing everything we can on a short week to be at full health.
So from your perspective, do you think you have a chance to play on Saturday?
Definitely a chance. Taking it day by day, though. Everybody knows that I'm dealing with something. I think that's pretty public. It's out there. I'm not one to really talk about myself. Obviously being a quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, you can't run from that. But I'm taking everything one day at a time with it and preparing versus a really good defense.
No hiding when you're the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, certainly. He did say later in the press conference he can throw. He has thrown to test it out and wouldn't put it past himself to actually play on Saturday. You heard the same thing from Nick Sirianni, but again, that could just be gamesmanship. I do find it interesting, and I don't say this with any ounce of criticism. I believe in paying your respects to people that have passed, and obviously Gardner Minshew wasn't there. His former coach, of course, passed away. So he's out there, and he actually spoke at the memorial service, which is beautiful. So listening or knowing all that, it's not like they were going to have Gardner Minshew go up there and address the media today. When I first saw that it was Jalen Hurts speaking, I was like, oh, interesting. Usually they don't have players speak in situations like this, but he's out there. Fascinating. Usually they'll have the starting quarterback speak, but I guess that would just show their hand even more. There's a whole bunch of scenarios that can play out here with the fact that I don't think this is a very serious injury. The one scenario is that Jalen Hurts doesn't play because he's hurt, and that is what the Eagles are walking us down that path right now. The other scenario is that Jalen Hurts, surprise, he plays this week. That's one scenario that can still very much play out. The other scenario is just that they don't play him, and it's not because necessarily the injury. It's because of what I'm alluding to throughout the first 15 minutes of this show, gamesmanship. And that's where I think we're at more than ever. So here's Nick Sirianni right before he even sat down. I think it was Jeff McClain of the Inquirer that threw this question out there to Nick Sirianni right away.
What's Jalen Hurts' injury and how long will he be out?
Yeah. Okay. I'm never going to put a timetable on anybody. I know you'll always never put a timetable on him. He's at a sprained shoulder, and I do not put it past Jalen Hurts. I don't put anything past Jalen Hurts as far as his mental and physical toughness. So there's a chance he could play this week. And so he is one of the toughest guys I know. And he heals fast. He's a freak. His body is not like, pardon me, yours or mine, right? And so I'm shaming myself there a little bit too. His body's not like ours. He heals fast. He came back fast from his injury last year. And I will not rule him out. I will not put a timetable on him. And we'll see.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that his body is not like mine. I don't think Jalen Hurts was eating pan-seared stuffed calamari yesterday that is just drenched in balsamic vinegar and olive oil. I'm gonna go ahead and assume Jalen Hurts wasn't doing that. I'm also gonna assume Jalen Hurts has run more recently than I have, which I believe was my 8th grade physical fitness test. I think that's the last time I actually ran. But anyway, I don't put anything past Jalen Hurts either, and I also don't put anything past the Eagles that could just roll him out there on Saturday and be like, gotcha. He's playing. Deal with it. I don't think that's the way it's going to go down. But I wouldn't put it past him. Nick Sirianni wants to talk about the Jalen Hurts' the ability to protect him, really, because I know it has come up where Jalen Hurts has been kind of hung out to dry by this offense on more than one occasion. And some of this is Jalen Hurts doing it to himself. And I thought this was interesting. One thing Nick Sirianni revealed yesterday was that they only called one run play for Jalen Hurts. He checked into, I believe he said 2 others. The one he checked into was a 22-yard touchdown run. And the other was at some point in the game. I couldn't put my finger on which running was, but he had 17 rushes. So you mean to tell me that everything else was RPO or scramble? That's a lot of RPO. That's too much scrambling. 17 by your running back. Or 17 by your quarterback is treating him like your running back. I got you some numbers yesterday. I wanted to go a little further with this. At one point in the game, in the early goings of the third quarter, Jalen Hurts had 11 rushes in this game. Miles Sanders had 4. There's no universe behind this offensive line and that porous pass rush that they were facing against Chicago Bears. There is no universe where you should ever see 11 runs for your quarterback and 4 for your number 1 running back and the 5th leading rusher in the NFL going into that game last week. There is no universe where that should be the case. And after the game, that was my number 1 takeaway. I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. And as we heard about the injury yesterday's show, I was telling you the same thing. I hate the idea that you have, 17 rushes overall for your quarterback, and I believe it was 11 in total for Miles Sanders. That should not be the case, ever. Yet that's where we were. So I went through the whole thing for 2 days in a row of hand the ball to your running back. That seems like a great approach. How do you protect your quarterback? Well, just give the ball to your running back. He's turning around, he's handing the ball. He's not left open for a shot. And I've listened to Seth Joyner say this many times, and I remember Terrell Suggs got in trouble, I believe, during a preseason game when Sam Bradford, remember that guy? Sam Bradford was your quarterback in the preseason. He was handing the ball to Miles Sanders, I think it was. And Sam Bradford dropped back, or not dropped back, but he's in the shotgun with Chip Kelly as his head coach and went to do the RPO in the stomach of his running back. Maybe Sanders was gone at this point. And, or Sanders, now I'm doing it wrong. LaShawn McCoy puts it in his gut, and Terrell Suggs comes in and bang! Just smacks the crap out of Sam Bradford. And he got away with it. The ref didn't call a penalty because in that mesh point, as it's referred to, you don't know if the quarterback's keeping the ball or if he's handing the ball off. That's the whole point of running that play. So as a edge rusher, as someone who makes a lot of money from hitting the quarterback, oh, this is an opportunity to hit the quarterback, I'm going to hit the quarterback. I can get away with this because right now he's faking or keeping the ball. So he's either the live ball carrier or he's getting rid of the football. I'm going to go ahead and err on the side of I'm not going to get burnt by him, and I'm just going to hit him because I can get away with it. Referees didn't call a penalty. Everyone was all up in arms. And I thought to myself, that's a good play. That's a smart play. So why am I going to put Jalen Hurts at that same risk? I'm giving you know who the option belongs to? The edge rusher in the read option. I can either hit that guy, who's the running back. Maybe that'll be a bad thing. You know, maybe that'll help my team and getting him out of the game. But you know what will really help me? If I take out their quarterback. So that to me is something that I've always heard. That to me has always been a risk. But then when I hear a guy like Seth Joyner talk about it, I'm like, that's worrisome. Because then guys are eventually going to start to do that anyway. And even at the end of the play, that's the other concern is you're going to have an issue like you had on Sunday against the Bears, where a guy just says, I'm going to take him down and I'm going to put all my weight on him and see what happens. Well, now he's got a shoulder sprain. Again, I don't think it's that serious. He played pretty well in the game after he suffered the injury. So I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. But I am concerned if the Eagles continue to use Jalen Hurts in the way that they have used him. And I think you can still have your cake and eat it too. You can still have Jalen Hurts be the phenomenal athlete that he is, and you can still have Jalen Hurts be the phenomenal quarterback all around that he is without using him as much. Too much of a good thing turns into a bad thing. I think that's one of the truest things my mother ever told me. But here's Nick Sirianni on how they can maybe better protect Jalen Hurts and the mindset going into that.
For us to be the explosive offense that we want to be, you know, Jalen is a very good passer, and he's shown that he's become a better passer by each game that he plays. But he's also in that MVP race, which, you know, in my opinion, he's played better than anybody in this league so far this year. And, you know, he's in that MVP race because of his dual threat ability. You know, with his ability to not only do what he's been doing passing the ball, but also what he's been doing running the football. And that comes different ways. I think he's got, you know, what does he have, 13 touchdowns of different ways to do that. So we're, like I said, we're always going to think about his safety first. And I know you guys are probably like, well, he got hurt. Well, you know, he also ran for 180 yards against Green Bay. And I get it. Sometimes it's a result-based thing. Like, well, he didn't get hurt that one. He's our MVP. Oh, he did get hurt. What are you guys doing, right? And so I get that. That's going to be part of the scrutiny, and I understand that. But we are who we are as an offense, explosively, scoring-wise, all those different things, because Jalen can do so many things.
Yeah, it's true. All that's true. I agree. I concur, but maybe not as much of it. Just a thought. Maybe not as much. Still do it. Not as much. And when you talk about only one run was called for Jalen Hurts in the game, according to Nick Sirianni yesterday. Maybe not give the opportunity for him to make the option. I don't think this is difficult. And I say this all the time. A lot of times, you know, if coaches make decisions based on what the fans say or what the media says, you end up sitting with them, is the old adage, right? Folks, if you're going to hire a coach tomorrow to coach a football team, I would hire Nick Sirianni over the vast majority of fans I've met. I'd hire him over the vast majority of media members. I'd hire him over me. Okay, let me get that out of the way. But there are some things media members and fans are very much right about. And that's the fun of it, is that we can watch these guys do all this work all through the week, put a game plan together, lose by 1 point, and then we pick on that one thing that they did wrong. They did one thing. And guess what? That one thing, we're probably right. We're probably right. Nitpicking or saying, yeah, if you did this, then maybe it's a different outcome. You're probably right. But in everything else, probably terribly wrong. Probably terribly wrong. But I'm going to go ahead and say protecting your quarterback is something that a lot of fans are right about. And that's not just on the coaching staff, that is on Jalen Hurts as well. But why not take away the opportunity for Jalen Hurts to be more physical? I would take away that opportunity as many times as the Eagles are giving him that opportunity to be a physical player. And I'd say, all right, you know what? Instead of the read option here, we're just going to run it. That's what we're going to do. And if Jalen Hurts wants to check out of it because he sees something, well, then he should. Because you're the last man diagnosing what's out there at the line of scrimmage. When that radio goes dead in your helmet, with communication to the sideline at the 12-second mark on the play clock. That'll be a fun drop. When that happens, you're the last man standing. So you have to see what's out there, diagnose it with the pre-snap read, and either stick with the play that's called with the 12 seconds allowed on the play clock and run the play. That's what you got to do. And that should be as right as a quarterback. That's what good quarterbacks do. And Jalen Hurts is a pretty damn good quarterback. But the coaching staff, I think, has to protect Jalen Hurts from himself in a lot of those instances and take the option out of the read option. Run past option? Nope. Just going to be a run. And that brings me to this. Nick Sirianni yesterday on the discrepancy between Jalen Hurts' runs and Miles Sanders' runs. And I think this is it Martin Frank, I think, that asked the question about how many runs Jalen Hurts had in the first quarter. 0. And how it took till 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter for Jalen Hurts to get his first carry. And here is Nick Sirianni talking about getting Sanders involved from the start.
Yeah, I got to give him just some called runs, and Shane and I, that's our job, is just to make sure we get him some called runs that he can get the touches early. Now, we were throwing it a little bit more, based off why were we throwing it a little bit more? Well, the defense that Coach Flus and Alan Williams, their defensive coordinator, were running, left us one-on-one in places we felt like we had matchups. But with all that being said, I got to get, myself and Shane have to give Miles some called runs, because Miles is a great player, and we got to get him some touches early. The time of possession was a little off too. Like, I think the time of possession was, I don't know, you guys would know better, maybe 22-8 in the first half. So we didn't have a ton of plays either that, ideally, until, we had a 2-minute drive late in the half. But all that being said, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But with all that being said, we got to get him some touches early, and that's my job to do that. And so I take full responsibility for that.
It's wild to me that Nick Sirianni started that out with, yeah, I got it. I like it was something he had been pondering for quite some time, something he had been struggling with for quite some time. Yeah, I really got it. Miles Sanders I got it. I should probably use I should probably use Miles Sanders. You may have a point. That I should use one of the best running backs in the league to run the football, as opposed to my MVP candidate quarterback, because I might get him hit less, and I should get my running back involved in the game plan more in the early goings. Yeah, you might have possibly, there's a chance you have a point. I think I agree. You're right. I should probably get Miles Sanders involved more. 6:41 remaining in the first half. And that's when they gave the ball to Miles Sanders for the first time. Not even like, it wasn't like he had 2 catches at that point. It wasn't even like that. Not even a little bit. It was, he hadn't touched the football. maybe we should, I think, possibly. As a matter of fact, I think studies show 17 scientists agree. I will be watching like a hawk how they call this game if Gardner Minshew is your starting quarterback. I'll be watching the game plan and like what comes to fruition in the first, say, 10, 15 plays and see how they use Miles Sanders in that. I'm going to go ahead and assume Miles Sanders is going to get the ball right away. It's going to be a handoff to Miles Sanders. But I think that might be against the grain. If you have a backup quarterback, odds are you want to make sure you get him in a rhythm, in a flow to start things off. But maybe just to shut people up like me, they will go ahead and hand the ball to Miles Sanders to open things up and then go from there. That's what I'm going to go ahead and wish for. That's what I'm going to go ahead and hope for. That's what I'm going to go ahead and assume the Eagles are going to do in this game against the Cowboys. Plus, they're also going to want to keep Gardner Minshew clean if he is, in fact, going on. Because the Eagles lead the NFL in sacks with 55. Right behind them is the Dallas Cowboys. So they're also right behind them in the turnover battle, too. So that's something else that they got to be wary of going into this game. So let's see what the Eagles do. Let's see if they actually, I don't know, run the football with Miles Sanders this time around. All right. So that's the Eagles conversation. Bottom line, if you take anything away from it, take this. Jalen Hurts is fine. He could play this week. I don't just say he could play like he could if they would play him. I'm just saying that the injury is not something that is solely keeping him out of this game. I do believe gamesmanship has more to do with this than anything. I'm saying he could physically play in this game, and I'm also saying the Eagles could still start him in this game against the Cowboys. So I'm not concerned. I do believe a bigger part of this is the gamesmanship more so than anything. And also the Eagles need to use Miles Sanders. And our head coach here and play caller and Shane Steichen need to make sure that they're called. But I really think I need to play him. Yes, good idea. I concur. All right. I want to get to this before I even get to the Flyers because this is bonkers to me. The Mets have signed Carlos Correa. Before the show, PJ and I are talking, and he says, do you see the Correa? Now, let me rewind. I sit down and start my prep, and I'm flipping through the Twitter, right? I'm just saying, hey, what's popping out? What's going on? I see Carlos Correa, and I'm like, well, why is he in the news again? Yeah, whatever. He signed that contract with the Giants, whatever, fine. And I keep scrolling. I don't even think anything of it. I see Carlos Correa, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Whatever. And I keep scrolling because I want to find Jalen Hurts updates. I want to find what happened to the Flyers last night. I want to see if anything happened regarding the Sixers, stuff like that. And the first thing PJ says to me after good morning is, hey, did you see the Correa news? And then I knew baseball fan extraordinaire, Jim Hyden, extraordinary producer, said, hey, did you see the Correa news? And I went, what? And he said, yeah, like 30 minutes ago, he just signed a deal with the Mets. And then I was like, are there two Carlos Correas? Was there like some kind of international signing that I missed? What? And so Carlos Correa signed a deal with the pending physical. That's why you always got to pay attention to, pending a physical. So-and-so is a member of so-and-so. So Carlos Correa, he agrees to a deal with with the San Francisco Giants, 13 years, $350 million. But that gets placed on hold because of a physical. So according to the AP, two people with direct knowledge of the situation revealed that the San Francisco Giants had postponed an introductory press conference on Tuesday for their signing for Correa after medical condition emerged during his physical. I shouldn't say condition. A concern emerged during his physical. While the Giants organization did not provide an official reason for the postponement of the press conference, one of the sources reported that a medical issue was flagged during Correa's physical. The decision was made hours before the press conference was supposed to happen, and many around in Major League Baseball were completely shocked by the news. Correa's introductory presser had been postponed. That's a tweet from a former sports writer saying it was really bizarre. So what was going on with Correa? Barstool Sports added that. There were all sorts of tweets going on around it. And then the news broke, the shoe dropped. Basically, Scott Boras, the agent involved in the situation, was like, well, what are you doing? And the Giants are like, well, there's a thing here that I'm not sure that what's going on here. Medical issue. And Boras is like, screw you, we're going to the Mets. So Carlos Correa is now a member of the New York Mets. One baseball insider described it as, let me make sure I get the wording on this right, because again, this is a fluid situation. Oh, come on. Where's my guy? Here we go. I'm boomering it up right now. Wrong button. Womp womp. One baseball insider, Alden Gonzalez, Carlos Correa, in a stunning turn of events, is joining the Mets on a 12-year, $315 million deal just 1 week after agreeing to join the Giants on an even larger contract. The Mets collective bargaining payroll projects at a stunning $380 million. Jeff Passan adds, the New York Mets current payroll is estimated to be around $384 million. Luxury tax payments will exceed $111 million. Their total payroll projects to be $495 million. Previous max payroll in baseball less than $350 million. Mets are at almost $500 million. This is absolutely insane. So now the Phillies, with Trey Turner, and after the All-Star break, hopefully a very healthy Bryce Harper, have to deal with not only a New York Mets team that won 100-plus games last year, choked in the playoffs, but now Carlos Correa is joining that fray as well. Oh, and Justin Verlander is there with Max Scherzer, too. That's all happening. So, yeah, that's happening. Oh, and of course, the big signing, David Robertson. So that's another thing, too. So Carlos Correa, if you're just waking up, as I was just waking up, and you don't have a producer to tell you things, you don't have a producer there sitting there while you're eating your Cheerios, Carlos Correa is now a member of the Mets. Okay, that's fine. We got Trey Turner. Here's my dream. The Mets continue to choke in the biggest spots. Okay. Spend a crap ton of money at choking in the biggest spots. And then they're in financial hell from that point on. If you're a Mets fan, you're rooting for the same thing for the Phillies. But you're not my team, so whatever. So the long story short, there's only one Carlos Correa. He is no longer affiliated with the San Francisco Giants, and he is currently a New York Met. So there we are. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it brings us. Hey, the Flyers. They won a hockey game last night. They've been doing this thing where they've been winning like every week, like once a week or every other week, and they're spoiling us now. They're spoiling us. They won last night. Give them all the credit in the world. I will celebrate the victory. I am celebrating the victory. I'm not going to get cocky. Travis Konecny starting things off beautifully with a little short-handed goal. Nice little stick movement as he's doing it as well. Flyers get a 5-3 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. They get the win for their head coach. TK actually had 2 goals last night, so that's cool. Morgan Frost had another goal for the Flyers. That's nice as well. In net for the Flyers was Carter Hart. He made 30 saves in the victory. He has been on a nice little tear as of late, so hopefully that keeps going for the Flyers. But it was good to see the Flyers at least get the victory. They're 11th of the season. They got the Blue Jackets, the Maple Leafs tomorrow night in Toronto, so hopefully they'll keep that going. It's going to be a 2 o'clock puck drop. A little early in the day. For a Thursday. Treat yourself every once in a while. So that'll be nice. Let me tell you about Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers, other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people fall in love and get engaged. That's what Steven Singer has been doing. So go to Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. Steven has the perfect price in this holiday season. The perfect price, it means a lot. Because other jewelers like to mark things way up, especially this time of year. Hey, I'm in the spirit of giving, so $100 off. No, Steven Singer, it's the perfect price every single day. That's why other jewelers say, I hate Steven Singer. Because Steven's taking care of you every single day, not just the holidays. Not with just some promo code or discount or sale or whatever. every day is the perfect price. That's why you got to trust Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every day. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. How about the great people of Manscaped? Manscaped.com. I see us in the chat. You're commenting on the fact that I've buttoned the second button of the shirt. This is the gray shirt. The gray shirt gets a little... Gee, that's a lot going on a consistent basis. Like, the other shirts usually kind of ride back a little bit like that, and that kind of helps me maintain my PG rating. But this shirt in particular, I unbutton it, boom, right to NC-17. Starring Elizabeth Berkley. Nobody commented on that reference yesterday in the chat. Not going to say I'm disappointed. I'm not going to say I'm mad. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I'm just going to say I'm a little let down. It was a little let down. Just a little let down. But Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming, or above, if you got to take care of the chest hairs. Manscaped.com, 20% off with promo code Farzy. That's Manscaped.com, 20% off with promo code Farzy. So make sure you guys gift for the holiday. Manscaped at Manscaped.com and use promo code Farzy. You'll enjoy their Platinum Package 4.0. It's incredible. It really is. And it comes with skin-safe technology that reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. The Platinum Package 4.0 includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, as well as the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. So it takes care of all of it at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com for more information. How about the amazing people, the incredible people at Freestone Farm CBD, freestonefarmcbd.com. Give it a shot. If you like CBD, if you want to switch up your CBD, if you want to try CBD, Freestone Farm CBD is the way to go. Go to freestonefarmcbd.com. Use promo code Farzy. Get 20% off your order. Their insane tropical tasting Bayox clocks into their chart topping 24.1%. And their super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21% is off the charts. Plus, they grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with no organic inputs or with all organic inputs or IPM. So make sure you check out the great people at Freestone Farm CBD, freestonefarmcbd.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's jump on into the chat check and see how you beautiful people are doing on this fine morning. April, what's going on? Oh, the chat is bumping today. I think I switched the live chat, so I think I can get everybody in here. April? No, I'm missing something. Because I have April just that sounds good. Maybe April is just responding to my pan-seared stuffed calamari. Oh, did I mention the parsley? Careful with the parsley. Parsley's a little sneaky. Use too much parsley, tastes like you're eating a botanical garden. Okay? Anyway, Alyssa. Good morning, Alyssa. Sean, killing me with this food talk. Calamari. You know what's crazy is when I do tell people stuffed calamari, they think, how do you stuff calamari? Because they think calamari swims around in the ocean in little fried rings. That's true. This is a real thing. This is a real conversation I've had with people. So it's squid, and you just take the tube of the squid, and you make a stuffing for it. You put the stuffing in, obviously. And then in this case, I pan-seared it. And I called my mom. And I said, Mom, we're not baking the calamari this year. I'm pan-searing it. Now, here's what's interesting, and I'll keep you guys posted on this. My dad said, and this hurts my heart, but my dad's hosting, as they always do, my parents are hosting 7 Fish. Now, if we eventually move, which you guys, I think I've kept you guys abreast, we're under contract. We have a buyer for our house and we're buying another house. Then we're under contract in both places. So, got to get through the inspection and all that unscathed. And then the wheels will really start turning. But once I have this house in the suburbs, once I move to the suburbs, I will host a lot of these events. At least that's what I think. And I won't do this. But my dad said, hey, I'm going to have it catered. I'm going to do a lot of catering. I'm going to have a lot of it catered. And I'm like, that's fine. It's your house. You do what you want. You get it catered, but I'm still making pan-seared calamari. I was like, someone's got to make something homemade. So hopefully that'll be the case. But it was fantastic. Just a little more balsam. Woman. Anyway. Boop. April, do we think they're being sneaky to make the Cowboys think they have a plan for both quarterbacks? Yes. Yes, April, I absolutely think they are being sneaky. That's the gamesmanship part of it. I concur. Sean Gillespie says, good morning, April. Morning, Sean, Alyssa, Sean, Mally. What's up, Mally? Sean, I believe it is his throwing shoulder. It is his throwing shoulder. It's his right shoulder. Mally, I see Mark in a serious mood today. Gray shirt, button all the way up. The neck, the not neckline showing. Hold on a second. This is buttoned all the way up. That's buttoned all the way up. I don't know why people do that. I don't know if it's still a thing, but I see people do this from time to time. I feel like I'm a minister. I feel Amish when I do that. Let me get rid of that. There we go. Boop. Alyssa, Mark showed the most cleavage ever yesterday. Probably a warning from YouTube. Mally says Mrs. Farzy said, my guy, button that poop emoji up. Sean, Farzy was near X-rated yesterday. Got 20 extra subscribers. Jalen seems so cool that he is about to pull out a Freestone Farm CBD blunt and say, what? It's not weed. Dan, you know what I did see yesterday? I saw Jalen Hurts smile. We rarely see Jalen Hurts smile. And I'm fine with that. I'm not knocking him. All right. Because look, I remember Rodney Peete throwing an interception. And he comes off the field like, oh man, just an interception. Oh, what was I doing? And I remember people were killing him for smiling. I didn't see the interception. I think it was crazy. I don't know who was there. I didn't see the defensive back. Was supposed to be there. Yeah. And people killed him for that. So Jalen Hurts, one of the things I love about this guy, he's just like so cool, man. He's like just so chill and same kind of temperament. And I admire people like that because I am not that at all. And and yesterday I think he was getting a FaceTime when he was sitting down, and he was laughing about it. And then he wasn't done asking a question, and Merrill Reese jumped in with, Jalen, do you think that there's a problem? And then Jalen Hurts like, whoa, Merrill, right in there. All right, man, hold on a second. You know? And he was like smiling about it. And I go, I don't think I've ever look at him smiling. That's great. But yeah, that would be funny. It's CBD. It's not weed. Mally, honestly, I think with the right game plan, Gardner can do something against Dallas. Their defense has been real suspect the last couple of weeks. I concur with that, Mally. And somebody came at me yesterday. I mean, come at me is a little interesting, but yesterday, somebody mentioned on one of our social media posts that I was picking the Cowboys to win. I said that the Eagles don't have a chance to win this game. I never said that. I thought I made myself abundantly clear. I'm not confident the Eagles will win this game. I'm not confident right now, but get me Friday. On Friday, I'll probably be feeling myself and be like, Gardner Minshew can throw for a couple touchdowns, and Miles Sanders can run for 150 yards, and this team's going to be great. Also, Dallas Goedert's back, who, by the way, I believe caught 2 touchdowns last year against the Jets with Gardner Minshew as a starting quarterback, so whammy. Anyway, that's right. I said whammy. Deal with it. Listen, not the physical fitness test. That was always the word. Like, gym class, like I always look forward to. Sorry, Mrs. Harris. It was phys ed. My phys ed teacher always was like, "It's phys ed. It's not gym." And I'm like, "You're right. Sorry, Miss Kuzi." So even then, I would say Miss Kuzi is a 5th grader. But it was like, all right, it's physical fitness test next week, and I'd eat like salad. And I'm like, I'm really going to, my goal in life was like to win the mile one day, like in my class to win the mile. And wouldn't you know it, 8th grade, I won the mile in my class. 8th grade, I think I ran, I don't know why this time sticks out to me, 6:41, which is a terrible mile time, I think, but somehow magically I won. Here's Sean. Legalized torture, 1 mile run. How about the V-sit reach? Remember that bowl of crap? All right, how flexible? You put your hand in it, V-sit reach. And you had to reach, stretching. Oh, forget it. And pull-ups as opposed to chin-ups? Oh, boy. Mally, I don't think so, but thank you. Sean Gillespie, the 49ers defense, though, without the turnover machine, Jimmy G. Scary. Yeah, it is scary. That's D'Amico Ryan's running stuff. We all going in to get Mark that ounce of weed for Christmas? Ah. Beep. Da-da-dee, da-da-da. All day, miraculously had asthma. Oh, yeah. VSIT or physical fitness test, sure. Mally, when I start to run, my knees say, what the hell are you doing? Just stop working. Yep, I don't think Alyssa, you didn't miss my play clock. Play clock. April, need the soundboard. T-bro, where's the soundboard? Yep. Wait, the Eagles have a running back? Yes, Sean, they do. Dan, we need breaking news sounder when Doc says arrogant, condescending comments. Then we all drink. He did it again the other night. Did you play it, Mark? Sorry, I missed it. No, I did not. I'm sorry. Only Duck Rivers drops. Mullet! Mullet, you beautiful bastard. How are you? Thankfully, there is no play. All right. Mullet, that's great. Dan, hello. Dan, Alyssa, I mean, to be fair, you have never made a financial... Oh, to be fair, they have never made great financial decisions. Bobby Bonilla Day. April, great poll. Absolutely. Ooh, yeah. There's good stuff on Duck Rivers. Old Duck Rivers. T-bro, sit and reach. That was a nightmare. Oh, I agree. Mally, Mark said whammy. We need a soundboard instantly. Oh, you guys are awesome. Sean, catering is the way to go. So easy. See, when I cook to honor my ancestors, okay? Cooking for me is an emotional, religious experience. Somebody showing up to my house with a couple of tin bins, aluminum foil bins, and some sterno burners is not for me. I want to go through the experience. I want to slice. By the way, for everyone cooking, slicing garlic. Remember how Paulie did it in Goodfellas? The late great Anthony Bourdain said that's how you're supposed to cut garlic. Not the squeezy thing, not mash it, not chop it, but you slice it super thin. And he put it in his book, Kitchen Confidential. You slice it super thin so that it liquefies in the pan. Like that's the goal. And that's how I slice my garlic. So just a little tip. That's all real. That's not just Hollywood. That's how you're supposed to cut garlic. Wow. I think I hit a chord there with Sean. I hated Roddy Pete as much as a player. Seems like a nice guy, though. Oh, Dan Schwartz, I told you were going to get hurt playing like that. Water Cooler Joe. T-Bro, sit and read. It's terrible. Farzy, emotional. Never knew that. Wait, April, is that what you sent me? Hold on. April, with your permission. Ooh. This is one of the things that Strufoli was one of the things that I didn't like as a kid, but love as an adult. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the Strufoli right there. That looks good. Just give me my espresso. Ugh. There it is. And a couple of those. Yeah, thank you very much. That looks beautiful. Well done, April. I'm sorry. I saw you sent me something, and that was in the middle of me finding out about Carlos Correa. That looks beautiful. Thank you. I'll chip in for the soundboard. We'll make life that much better. We'll get one. Maybe I'll get one for Christmas. Maybe that's what Santa's bringing me. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Much appreciated. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. I mentioned Philadelphia Flyers are back at it tomorrow night against Toronto Maple Leafs. Flyers look to make it 2 wins in a row. Let's get greedy, folks. Let's get good and greedy. 76ers back at it tonight against the Detroit Pistons. On behalf of the Detroit Pistons, I just want to say to everyone and all my Jewish friends, I just want to say Happy Hanukkah. Did you see what the Pistons did? I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Kyrie Irving had some what was determined to be anti-Semitic things going on earlier in the season. And I'm just going to say that's all, but leave it at that. So when he went to the foul line against the Pistons last week, the Pistons put Happy Hanukkah on Fanavision. I thought that was fun. So anyway, the Sixers host the Pistons tonight, 7:00. Hopefully the Sixers notch they're going for their 6th win in a row. So that'll be fun. That's what we'll all be rooting for. One thing I didn't play yesterday, but I want to acknowledge it, was a quote, and I'm not playing it today, but was a quote from Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris talked about how earlier in the year, he wasn't ready for a 5-for-7 shooting night from beyond the arc. But in this role that he is in now with this brand of basketball from the 76ers, I think is the brand of basketball that we need in this city from Tobias Harris. I don't think Tobias Harris is ever going to live to his max contract. I don't think we're ever going to justify that. Like, he's not going to be on the same level as a Joel Embiid, James Harden, or even Tyrese Maxey when he comes back. But when Tyrese Maxey does come back, this right here is the role we've been waiting for Tobias Harris to find and have success in. He has become a 3-and-D player on steroids. All right? We've had the 3-and-D guys here in the past. The name that always jumps out to me is Robert Covington. We've had guys be great defensively like Matisse Thybulle, but not really have the three-point portion of his game come along. Tobias Harris came to Philadelphia as a scorer. That kind of went by the wayside with Jimmy Butler being here, Joel Embiid getting better, James Harden coming, obviously Tyrese Maxey emerging. Tobias Harris's scoring ability kind of got pushed aside, but he was always been a scorer in his career. He comes here, he's like 4th man in now. And it took a while for him, even a 3rd man in, to really determine and decide where he was going to fit in as a scorer. Well, I believe now his role on this team as a scorer will be a 3-point specialist. I do believe he will still have that great ability, though, more so than just 3-point specialist, to put the ball on the floor, get penetration, get to the rim, get fouled, go to the line. And then on the other end, play some solid defense. He's not going to be a defensive player of the year candidate. He's not going to be that. But if he plays that strong defense and is hitting threes for you, Tobias Harris has found his role. Because no matter who you are on this team, if you're Joel Embiid and you're down the boards, you got somebody else on the perimeter, and maybe you choose to kick it out, you're going to have a guy right there for a corner 3 like Tobias Harris. If you're Tyrese Maxey and you see that lane to the rim and maybe you get cut off and you have guys collapsing on you on the block, who do you have to kick it out to maybe? Tobias Harris. If you don't have James Harden do it, or if James Harden is trying to get penetration and he's trying to get to the rim and you have a guy like Tobias Harris standing outside in the wing, you got him there for the 3. All 3 of your top scorers, whether it's Embiid, Harden, or Maxey, can have a guy like Tobias Harris on the outside to knock down a 3. That's going to be all 3 of those guys can feed into that type of player. All 3 of those guys can help their own stats, can help their own style of play by having that guy available on the outside on the offensive end of things. On the defensive end of things, everyone wants a player like that. And Tobias Harris is doing that. When he said the other day, I wouldn't have been able to do this in the beginning of the year or late last year, I think he's right, because I don't think he knew how to fit into that role. Now he knows how to fit into that role. And right now, I think we're seeing the Sixers play a brand of basketball that they can continue to play, even when they do have a full roster, with Tyrese Maxey coming back, hopefully, in the not too distant future. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, home of the perfect price. Jim Heinen produced the program, did a phenomenal job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Be back with you guys tomorrow. RJ Ochoa, bloggingtheboys.com, will join the show to talk about what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys and what they're preparing for in light of the possibility of Gardner Minshew being the starting quarterback on Saturday at 4:25. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Be back with you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. See ya.